What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. This is going to be game number 2 here between rsvp and KiLLeR. We are on the map this time, Antigua Shipyard. In the upper left-hand spawn position, we have got rsvp as our teal Protoss player. And then over here in the right-hand spawn location, the yellow Zerg player is going to be KiLLeR. So yes, again, guys, this is game number 2 here on Antigua Shipyard. And last game, fairly interesting. We saw that early game DT harass from rsvp. And you know, I do have to say, he was able to do a bit of damage. He managed to kill off the evolution chamber, which was researching some upgrades there for KiLLeR. The problem is, though, he didn't actually do a ton of economic damage, nor did he kill a lot. The very first DT drop that we saw from rsvp didn't end up killing much at all. He went straight for the layer. Unfortunately for him, KiLLeR had detection there right away, and that forced KiLLeR to lift off the DT. And then after that, yes, he sniped the evolution chamber, but besides that, there wasn't much else going on. The reason this is notable, the reason I mention it, is because of that, his tech and his actual physical army size, we'll consider DT techie, little sneaky guys, you know what I mean? Like, they're not meant for a bulk strong army. That's not what DT are for. They're more for harass and sniping buildings and stuff. And as a result of the DT harass really not doing a ton of damage, KiLLeR was able to mass up Roach Hydra and push out, and there were not a lot of Colossus, nor were there a lot of Zealots, Stalkers, or Sentries, and that is because of that DT harass and the fact that it didn't do too much damage. Now, had that DT harass killed off a ton of workers and killed off a ton of tech, like had he dropped that layer, it might have been a different story for KiLLeR, but again, he didn't really do too much with it. And that's really what allowed KiLLeR to overwhelm his forces, just because he spent so many resources and so much time in getting that DT drop going that he didn't have a normal army set up. And that's the danger, you know. You try to do this type of harass, and if you technically fail, in other words, don't do a lot of damage, then your main army really suffers as a result. But let's go ahead and get into this game here. We did see a hatch first from KiLLeR, following that up with that pool extractor. We'll yet again be seeing a Forge Fast expand here, and we'll have to see whether or not rsvp tries to go for some cannon harass. I am most certain that KiLLeR's going to try to keep a close eye on that probe just to make sure that doesn't happen. Let's take a look. Yes, following him immediately. He needs to know if there's going to be any pylon or cannons placed around that hatchery. You can see actually moving over, grabbing a resource once he sees that probe vacate, and then be going back to mining on that main line. But yeah, that's definitely a major concern and something you got to keep an eye out for. rsvp again going for that Forge Fast expand. There's that Nexus now. He decided to get that cannon first before getting the Nexus placed down. And here comes the gateway, deciding not to actually use that as part of the main wall off. We'll be putting a gateway up in the main. Pretty interesting decision here. One important note is that luckily with this placement of the ramp, very easy with these first few buildings. He's got a full wall off here, and this cannon protects that side of the Nexus. So the only major concern is going to be Zerglings back here when he starts mining. But I think by that time he should have either another cannon or a unit up to be able to defend against it. Zerglings trying to get some map control there and kill off the probe. We'll also be seeing a scouting link pushed to the front just to see if any other Zerglings try to move out. Try to see if any other probes move out that will be attempting to do some scouting or drop pylons or anything like that. And again, we expect the Zergling to stay in hot pursuit of that probe until he manages to take it out or it goes back home. Back over here for KiLLeR, let's take a look at what he's got going on. Metabolic boost now coming out, pulled his guys off the gas as he'll be trying to get some heavy saturation. And is he going for a quick third? Yes, he is. Third base getting dropped down right now for KiLLeR. Yet again, this is going to be his response to that quick expansion from rsvp. Zergling forced to push back as the probe does manage to make his way back home and get back to mining. Another one comes out in its stead, but again, that gets spotted right away by that Ling. This Ling, don't know why he's not grabbing the tower. That's pretty stupid. And, you know, unfortunately now for KiLLeR, probe will be scouting out this hatchery, so this is something that rsvp is now aware of, and let's see if it's something that he ends up doing anything about. It looks like he will be. Open up with some Stargate play. So we could see a quick Void Ray, or he could go for some Phoenix Wraths, or a little bit of a mix. Either way, though, going to be kind of a headache there for KiLLeR. Opening up a Void Ray and hitting this expansion could certainly do some damage before KiLLeR's able to actually get any anti-air over there, and immediately actually pulling on over as he has sent in the Overlord Scout, and with that was able to scout out the Stargate. So now he knows it will be coming, and he will be using a Queen over here to try to defend against it. Should be seeing an Evolution Chamber get dropped down if it hasn't already. We do have a Roach Warren coming on through. Again, I really want to see that Evolution Chamber because he's going to need some Spore Crawlers, no questions about that. Finally got some Speedlings in play. This is going to stop any small pushes from coming out the front. It will also just be used for scouting purposes. And again, still no Evolution Chamber. I do not know why he still does not have an Evolution Chamber. That's a little bit baffling to me. He knows that air is coming. And here comes Void Ray. We'll be starting things out here. We do have some more Queens coming in play. We are sitting with 3 at the moment, so he's getting that 4th Queen to help with that anti-air. Pylon over here that's going to open up for some extra harass later on in the game, and a Pylon actually in place over here. Looks like it will be planning some aggression early on. First Void Ray now out, making its way straight to that 3rd base. First and foremost, we'll be engaging an Overlord. He's getting the charge up there on that Ray. That's going to make things very difficult for this Queen here. And hit with that charged up Void, and look at how much damage he takes. He's going to be forced to pull back, and he's taking damage that entire time. Here comes the 2nd Queen to engage, and that's enough of a threat to force that Void Ray back. But we do have a 2nd Void Ray here, and this Void Ray took no structural damage, just losing his shields. We're seeing a couple Zealots right now, as we will be seeing an attempt to break down these rocks. And this is going to be our rsvp trying to actually do this early game economic damage. Speedlings moving down, getting a full surround on the Zealots. Gonna delay their ability to take down those rocks. Zealots are very threatening though to those Lings, and actually here comes the Void Ray, and there's no anti-air response midfield at all for KiLLeR. He is now just about to finish that Hydra Den, and once that's up, he'll be able to actually deal with those Void Rays in the middle of the field. And actually here come 4 Queens. It's gonna help him quite a bit. Pushing back those Void Rays, but again, pulling back just in time before he loses anything besides those shields. Zealots moving over here. Not sure what they are doing, to be honest with you. I think he's just pulling them back to safety. He realizes that this push isn't going to be doing a lot right now, and he will just be focusing on this Void Ray harass over here. 2nd Stargate coming out. Very interesting. Twilight Council also coming out. We'll not be seeing a Gateway Heavy Army in the early stage of the game, as he's got that 2nd Stargate. And just go mass Void Rays. This is unorthodox. Void Ray openings don't usually go beyond 2 to 3. Sometimes, if that. A lot of times you'll see like 1 Void Ray and then a few Phoenixes, but he is just going to be going mass Void Rays here. And here comes the High Templar now that that Twilight Council is finished. So is that going to be for Archon? That's going to be my assumption. Could also just be going to lay down some storms, but look at this. So interesting. Mass Void Ray. Going to be pulling back, as those Hydras are very dangerous, but unfortunately not enough Hydras in play right now to be a super threat. And these Void Rays will continue to do some work over here. Take a look, see if there's anything else going on here. Nothing really. He's got actually a 3rd coming on through, and that's pretty much all that's happening right now. So it's this Void Ray harass coming out with some more Hydras. Here come the Queens as well, and that's going to be more than enough to deal with these Voids, pushing them all the way back. Almost. Hydra's just too slow off of that creep. Can't keep up with that Void Ray. Here come 2 more. More and more Void Rays coming through, and actually we'll be seeing some Storm action. We'll be getting some High Templar in play, not just those Archons. And Queens and Hydras now at the front, trying to stop any more Void Ray harass. We'll be seeing a push right now from KiLLeR, as he's attempting to hit this 3rd, I hope. First grabbing the center of the map. He doesn't know about that 3rd yet, but it is there. And if he can hit that, he could actually do a bit of damage, and he should be able to make it up to Scout. I think he's going to first, getting us around on these Zealots. Not a lot, again, because he's gone for the straight air. He doesn't have a lot of ground forces. This expansion's getting hit, but obviously let's pay some attention over here, as we've got a lot of Void Rays hitting this expansion, and this could be a major threat as well. This Nexus gets dropped with ease there. Beautiful job by KiLLeR. And the Void Rays push back as 1 Hydra and a few Queens. Could be a little scary for him. We'll be seeing Chrono Boost there of that Sonic Storm, but the push keeps coming as KiLLeR is being relentless here. And the Void Rays, again, pushed back by those Queens. So much energy allows them to transfuse. And here come the Roach and Hydra forces, doing a lot of damage now to the natural expansion. Big Storm gets laid down, though, and we'll be seeing those Void Rays turn around to engage. Just needs to take out those Hydras, and then the Void Rays can deal with the rest. And actually a few more Zealots getting warped in, and that's going to allow him to mop up this push, but not before he takes some damage. 11 workers killed there in that engagement. Let's take a look at those resources lost. They are actually about even. Very nice. And Only killing off 11 workers. That may not actually have been that bad for rsvp. I don't think he's necessarily that far behind. And you were going to say Force, but he lost the Nexus. Yes, that is terrible, but at the same time, KiLLeR's only been on 3 bases, and if you know the matchups here, in PvZ and TvZ, the Zerg player always wants to be 1 base above their opponent. So as a Protoss player, if you are on 2 bases and your Zerg opponent's on 3 bases, that's not necessarily the worst thing. And the fact that we have yet to see a 4th base from KiLLeR means that rsvp economically really isn't that far behind. Gonna be seeing those Hydras push back. The Void Ray is actually sniping too so quickly. It is crazy. The Hydras are so slow, but for what they lack in speed, they make up for in just crazy, crazy damage. Best response right now that we would be seeing from rsvp would be High Templar as well as Colossus, but he doesn't even have that robotics, finally just now dropping it actually. We'll be seeing a transition into some air as we do have a Spire coming on through. At the same time, here comes this push. KiLLeR's gonna be moving in. Is he gonna force the cancel again? Zealots and High Templar though, this is gonna be scary for those Hydras. So much damage. Being a light unit, they just get shredded by that Psystorm, and here come a few Archons as well to join the fray. And I think he might stop him from killing off this expansion. We'll be taking a bit of damage though. And finally though, able to mop up that push. rsvp keeps that Nexus intact, and that is a very, very good sign for him. Couple of Void Rays, Archons, and Zealots now moving across the map. Those Roaches scared, most certainly. We're forced to push back with those Void Rays, so that's all that he needs to engage them. More Roaches streaming out across the map. We're seeing a mass rally down here, just out front of that 3rd base for rsvp. 4th now finally finished here for KiLLeR. He's gonna be dropping an Infestation Pit. In addition to that, we do have that Spire that has just finished right over there. And I'm not sure where that Infestation Pit is, right over here. So we'll be seeing some Infestors, or he could just be going straight for that Hive Tech. Not sure what his decision making is going to be as of yet. Here comes a Roach push though. This is not gonna do too well. We got a lot of Archons and Charged Zealots here, plus the Void Rays pushing out the back. That is more than adequate defense there. Nice Storm. Unfortunately ends up walking a few of his Zealots through that. Do keep in mind that they will take damage from their own Storm, so you'll be careful with that. And continuing to push there. Finally forcing those Roaches back. Void Rays again trying to maintain map controls. We don't have any more Hydras in the center of the map here. Not quite sure why. Nice saturation down over here at the 4th base. Let's see him get up a 5th too. I'd really like to see that. I think now is the time. We're about 20 minutes in game. I think it'd be a good time for him to try to get that up and really get that strong economy over his opponent. He's going to be continuing to try to push that expansion, but it's going to be a tough going here. Lots of upgrades coming out. We do have some more Hydras. Also, we are going to notice, of course, that Hive Tech will be coming on through. Tunneling Claws as well as that Tunnel Researcher. We'll be seeing some attempted Burrowed Roach Harass. However, an Observer is going to be what he needs to actually scout those out. And here come the Void Rays again to make for a quick demise there of those poor Roaches. Queen's coming down, spreading some creep, and trying to get that as far out as possible. That's going to allow those Hydras to be much more efficient at the center of the map battles there, because they do need that creep to be fast enough to actually be able to get towards a battle for reinforcements at a adequate time. Just look how slow they are. That's so disappointing. Someone upgrade them speed, huh? Maybe for Heart of the Swarm. Hatchery expansion, another one coming on through. That will be base number 5 there for KiLLeR. Hive Tech almost done. We are in fact seeing some Infestors come on through. In fact, we'll be seeing 5 that will be popping in just a moment. And back over here, it's going to be Archon, High Templar, Void Ray, and Charged Zealot. He's staying true to that. Still coming out with lots and lots of Void Rays. Very interesting unit composition that we're seeing here from rsvp. Seems to be doing all right. Can't say that either player's got a huge advantage right now. They're really honestly about even at this point in the game. Here comes another push. Big Storms, though, laid down on the bulk of KiLLeR's forces, and that forces him back, of course. No scouting, actually, of these bases over here. At the moment, rsvp does not know about these 2 expansions. Well, look at this, though, trying to take that high yield. That's going to get scouted. Yeah, pretty sure that KiLLeR just spotted that. This is a scary engagement, though. He's got a lot of High Templar to lay down some Storms. Needs to be careful about feedbacks, too, on those Infestors. Really needs to, dump that energy, drop a Fungal Growth. There you go, another Storm forcing KiLLeR to spread out his forces here. Charged Zealots move forward. Still got that Archon in play. Nice Immortal action here, too. Just going to be burning through those Roaches. It's going to be close, so KiLLeR with some reinforcements, able to mop up everything that rsvp has in the center of the map, and since he knows about that Expo, should be able to take that out. Look at that, throwing a Muta into the mix, too. How hilarious is that? Very, very nice indeed, and actually finally able to mop this up, taking him a while. Those Immortals stayed alive for a bit longer. And, ooh, bit of miss over there. Not quite sure. Might have been some Zealot harass or something. We'll be pushing now onto this expansion. Let's take a look if there's any other harass. No, nothing coming from him. And how about KiLLeR? KiLLeR just got some scouting over here with those Overlords spreading creep, but that's about it. Should be forcing to cancel this expo, and there it is. The expansion gets canceled there, so rsvp now kind of in a tough spot economically because he does only have about 1.5 mining bases. This one very, very low, dwindling for resources. A little High Templar action getting sniped. Another storm gets placed down. KiLLeR avoids most of that damage though. And KiLLeR continuing to push here. Another nice storm though. Very nice engagements that we're seeing. Finally, it does appear like rsvp is aware of this expo. Still doesn't know about this one, but at least he knows about this. So let's see if he's actually able to retaliate with anything at all. This is looking really scary right now for rsvp as KiLLeR is threatening to push once more on this expo. And that's going to force him to try to push from the backside. So here comes the engagement. And getting a little trap there. Nice feedback from those High Templar, spreading out the units to try to avoid storm damage from being too effective. Void Ray's moving down to engage. There's actually not a ton of anti-air. And needs to be careful just about those infested Terrans. If he can keep those Void Rays away from that, might be okay. Might be able to stop these Roaches from killing off that expansion. And if the Void Rays coming through here, as he manages to take out all of the anti-air and force the push all the way back. I'm surprised he didn't stay to try to snipe that. I think he feels comfortable enough in his position right now. The fact that rsvp doesn't really have much counter response at all. Isn't doing any dropping, any harass, or anything like that. KiLLeR continues his push now. Moving up, up, up towards that expansion. And things are going to continue to look a little too scary here for rsvp as he mops up his forces, and that is going to do it as he's about to snipe rsvp's only mining base pretty much. This one has got pretty much nothing in it. And see you later, Nexus. And again, nice display here by KiLLeR. He has just secured his victory. We got a little bit of Zealot harass going on here, but you know what? That really doesn't matter at all. The income disadvantage is huge at the moment. KiLLeR has got a monstrous income when compared to rsvp. And with that, it's only going to be a matter of time until KiLLeR manages to break this line. Seen a storm there trying to help, getting overwhelmed, and there it is, guys. rsvp calling the GG. All right, my friends, that is going to do it for game number 2 here between KiLLeR and rsvp. We'll be moving on to a third bonus game here between the two players in just one moment. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Keep watching and keep owning.